necessary part. Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome back to our February meeting for Grid Long Island 495 group. Thank you for joining us. We're going to take a little ride down the wholesaling journey. So wholesaling is typically the first stop in most folks' investing journey because you can do very, very well financially and it doesn't take a lot of money to get going. So we'll take a ride, we'll dispel a couple myths, and then feel free to hit in the comments if you want us to answer anything. First off, every time, what is Grid? So Grid is a global real estate community built by investors, for investors. So what are we not? We are not gurus. We're actually just two guys out there doing deals every single day, building wealth through real estate. And we're here to share everything that we know. And our mission is to connect with, learn from, and collaborate with like-minded real estate professionals just like you and me. We welcome real estate investors on all spectrums. So if you have done 0 deals, 1 deal, or we've had folks up in here who own hundreds and hundreds of properties, we like to talk with people who are all along the way in their journey and share everything that we know. So where is Grid going? Future of Grid. So we have about 30 chapters along the East Coast, and we're moving out towards the West Coast. But our grand plan is to have 1,000 of these hyper-local Grid communities with 2,000 leaders, create 10,000 financially free individuals, 100,000 millionaires, and have 1 million members. So that's what you're a part of by being with us tonight. So who am I? I'm Josh Whaley. I am the branch manager for Douglas Elliman in Babylon, a licensed associate real estate broker, former licensed mortgage loan originator, real estate appraiser, also super handsome. Would you introduce
Sean Morrison, owner of Benchmark Construction Management and Eastern Expediting LLC, and a real estate investor. So I work with Josh. We invest together. We educate people and enjoying the journey.
Perfect. And so if you want to know a little bit more about us or our next meetings, you can find us on meetup.com or also gridlongisland.com. Tell us a little bit about your new faces. Would you share with us who you are and where you are in your investing journey and what you're hoping to get out of this meeting?
Well, my name is Melvin.
Yeah.
My name is Tanisha.
Hi, Tanisha.
So we're new to this.
Fantastic.
Wholesaling.
Awesome.
We find it very interesting.
Cool.
That we're able to make money.
Yeah.
Passively doing things and helping others.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, we just want to get more education.
Excellent.
So we can establish ourselves a little bit better.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. That is perfect. Yep. So I love what you said. What I think is really important is how can I create financial freedom for my own family while being of contribution back to somebody else? It's fantastic. I love it. Tell us a little bit about yourself, young lady.
I'm Angelica. I'm an agent with EXP rental properties.
Fantastic. Good. Young sir? It's okay. We'll come back to you. Go right ahead. So important legal stuff. Anything that we share in here is practice and things that we do, but I'm going to invite you to bounce all of these ideas off the people that have the appropriate licenses for that stuff. So I am not an accountant. I am not an attorney. I'm just a realtor out there doing deals. Also, if you come to any of our meetings, you also give us permission to record, film, and take photos. So what is wholesaling? So wholesaling is the process of finding a good deal, putting it under contract, and then selling the rights to that deal to another person. So for instance, if you located a property that would be worth $100,000 after a $10,000 renovation, you can be confident an investor, based on, we'll give you that for an investor would pay $60,000. So that's after repair value times 0.7 minus the cost to renovate gives you what we call MAO, is your maximum allowable offer. So if you can locate a property for 55, which would be below an investor's maximum allowable offer, you'd be able to keep the spread. So you have it under contract for $55,000, and you would sell that contract to somebody else, and you keep that $5,000 spread. That's really it. That's what wholesaling is identifying a buyer, connecting with them, controlling that property, and then selling those equitable rights. So you would sign, and the vehicle that gives you your The right to that money is what we would call an assignment. It's an assignment of contract. So here, important, and we'll talk about it a couple times during the meeting here, it's important to have a real estate attorney that is familiar with the wholesale process. So you can't pick, like, some folks have like union attorneys and for like $500, they will not get involved in this. They don't really understand this whole piece. You have to have an attorney. In other parts of the country, the realtors, or there's a standard form contract in that state, so you don't necessarily need that attorney. But important is.
And if you're in New York, we have that attorney. You can reach out to us and we'll connect you.
That's correct. So again, we talked about, here's a quick formula for whenever you're buying a property. So this one is how we measure deals at scale. So after repair value, ARV, times 0.7. So basically we want to pay 70% of the as repaired value and then subtract out the cost to renovate. And so we know what our maximum allowable offer is. And so if we don't necessarily, sometimes Sean and I will come across a property that is a deal, but it may not necessarily be something that we want to take all the way through renovation or to fruition. Could be outside of our immediate area. Like, I'm super comfortable in Riverhead Township. I know the code, I know the people, I know the streets, like, I know it really well. You're a little bit more comfortable on the South Fork. But if we found something maybe farther up west in Islip Township that I could run the numbers and do the math and it looks like a good deal, but I don't really want to take it all the way to the end, I can put that property under contract with the right to assign buried into that contract, and then I can sell that property to a wholesaler. That's what I do, keep that spread. So a question I get a lot, people ask me all the time, is it legal? It sounds like this is something that might be illegal, right? People they have a hard time. They just say, if somebody's willing to pay more money, they think that exchange of equity is really theft. But what we're really doing is adding a level of certainty or convenience or speed to that deal in exchange for equity. A common scenario I like to use is selling a car. Have you sold a car recently?
Before.
Okay, got it. So did you ever trade in a car? You never traded in a car at a dealership? That was a smart move. You, me, right? All of you traded in a car recently. So why did you go to the dealership to trade in that vehicle over putting it, you could put it on Facebook Marketplace, you could stick it on the corner with a for sale sign in it. How come you brought it to the dealership?
They take all of the negotiation and
Sure.
they gotta give it the lowest price sometimes, because if they're gonna wanna give you the high price,
Sure.
they're gonna make some money extra. Always they can give the interest, some money interest.
Sure. Right.
I have to pay the down payment too.
That's right. Generally, folks, like, I just traded in a vehicle not too long ago, but I brought it back to the dealership. I could have put it on Facebook, I could have put it on the corner, but I didn't really want that, right? I wanted to just go in, get a price on my vehicle, and pick another one out. I wanted convenience, but I went into that transaction knowing that the dealership would pay me less money for that car than if I sold it myself. So I wholesaled my car. People do it all the time, right? It's the same exact concept. So we use that same speed, convenience, security, secrecy, right? All those different things. Some people go, I don't want my property on the open market. I don't want people coming through it. Maybe it's bad condition, right? Maybe they just need cash quickly, right? All those different problems that we solve, and they will allow us to solve that problem for a lower price. They exchange a little bit of equity for that.
The majority of these houses that are wholesaled will be actually passed off to other investors. So you're actually, you're the bird dog out there finding deals that the investor doesn't, like the end user investor doesn't have time to do. So he would do it, except he's busy doing his projects. You're out there trying to find deals that you can trade back off to an investor, similar to trading your car in. Same thing.
Same thing, right. So another question I get all the time is, do I need a real estate license to wholesale? No. I actually suggest that you don't have it. It's a lot easier. So when you become a realtor, we get equipped with a certain level of skills, and like it is rare most properties that I'm going into for a listing appointment, they need to go out to the retail market. There's very few when they call in a realtor that really are wholesale issues. Typically, wholesales are going to come from our direct marketing efforts, social media, or by referral. They go like, this is a hoarder house, or they need to sell in 2 weeks, or something similar. But you don't need a real estate license, and honestly, I suggest that you don't have it. The other question is like, once I get this property, I put it under contract, and I have the right to assign. What do I do with it now? Right? Where do I go? Because the other part is you don't earn your fee until you find another buyer for that property, right? So where do I find buyers? Well, 2 handsome guys right in front of you. We buy a bunch of real estate. So go to your local real estate investor groups. Crazy enough, Sean is really patient and adept at it. He does a lot on Facebook Marketplace. I don't have the time or patience for that stuff, but you can find them on Facebook Marketplace. I vet them all out. Also, go through your attorney network. So a lot of times if you have your wholesale attorney who is comfortable with wholesaling, they generally have a giant network of other investors who will buy that deal. So the finding an end buyer is not the hardest part. It's really just finding the deal itself. Another one, do I have to buy the property if my end buyer fails to buy, right? If the person I'm assigning that contract to, if they don't buy the house, do I have to buy it? Generally, no. There will be language inserted into your contract, what we call like escape clauses, that give you an opportunity to peel back out of that deal, as we say. I don't really like to do that. So if I'm ever because we have a personal brand, right? And so there are a fair amount of wholesalers that always have an exit strategy back out of that deal. But people start to plan their life, right? They think that they sold the house, they made a deal, they're moving on, and then all of a sudden we change their whole life and go, by the way, super sorry, thanks for the great deal, but I can't buy your house. It really disrupts people's lives. So we invite you, if you're ever going to go into contract on a property, be sure that you can close on it or buy it. If you can't, then you can always partner with us and we'll figure that part out for you. So how do you get paid? Generally as settlement. So you will get paid when your end buyer closes. So you will be involved in that transaction. Put the property under contract, find the other buyer, close that assignment contract. You're still going to be involved. And generally that buyer needs to show up to the closing table with all of that money, slide it across the table for the seller, and you will get your assignment fee at that time. So generally, when we do it, what we like when somebody's going to buy our assignment contract, our assignment fee goes into escrow with our attorney as well. So we know that our money for that assignment is in there. Make sense? The last part, how much money do I need to start wholesaling? Not a ton, you'd be surprised. Out of New York State, I've seen them for $1,000. People put $1,000 down on a contract. It's wild. Here, generally, you'll need a little bit more money. The smallest I've ever seen, what we did.
$2,500 on the house. I think on 2 we put $2,500 down, and I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't need
average 3.5%, but
right.
We were working with an investor that was moving his 1031 exchange. He needed to move 5 properties. I'm like, Josh, we're buying all these. He's like, how are we going to sell them? I'm like, they'll sell.
We'll figure it out.
So
right.
We took all 5. We kept 1 for ourselves and found investors to take the other. We didn't make a huge spread, but we made some money.
Right.
It was our way to get one of our first investment properties as a partner.
That's right. So when there's a lot of different ways to look at your investment. So we didn't if we're looking at the money as a whole, it wasn't a ton of money, but it was like a 200%.
It was $1 million.
Well, but it was like a 200% return on the money that we put in.
Exactly.
Right. So that
but it was still added up.
Oh, the whole thing. If we had to close, I was super nervous.
Yep.
That was I'm bald. I went another level of baldness. It was very stressful. So, do I need money to wholesale? Possibly none. But here in New York, because we're an attorney state, attorneys are driving that contract. You're going to have some skin in the game, some money in the kitty. But it could be as low as $2,500 or $1,000. Do I need to understand after repair value or soft costs or renovation costs in order to wholesale a deal? No, you don't necessarily, but it's important that you do, because as you become a more prolific investor, you have more and more deals coming your way. And so we're in the realtor world, right? Like people are like, oh, I got a deal for you. And a lot of times they're really not. Like folks are really, they want a fast sale at a retail price, and that's just not, there isn't an exchange there. The exchange is like, I give you all my money so that you could get everything. It just doesn't work that way. So you have to, in order to know you have a deal, you have to understand what the end game is for that particular buyer. And the more that you can clearly articulate that to the end buyer, the more apt they are to buy your deal. And then the next time, more quickly they are to do business with you, because they know, like, hey, Josh understood his numbers. I got in at the price he agreed, I got out at the price he agreed, and his renovation costs were fairly close. What I'm really doing is taking that property, I'm measuring the risk, packaging it up and handing it off to an end buyer, and I'm doing that for an assignment fee. It's pretty fair, right? How do I handle settlement? So on all stuff, like, we don't go. So we just give power of attorney over to our attorney who goes. So closing here, remember that grid is all over the country, and New York is fairly backwards from the rest of the country in that we are an attorney state and we have attorneys involved. A lot of places over the country, it's a title company. It's a buyer, seller, and a title closer that's there. It's a lot less folks around the table. So that money comes at settlement. Here, we hire our attorney, and our attorney goes and closes for us. So we'll show up on the HUD, right, on the closing disclosure as whatever grid, Long Island 495 group, for assignment fee for X amount of dollars. Another one, should you pull title on a property if you're going to go into contract on it? We don't generally, as long as we have a good escape clause. Typically in New York, inside that contract, there's going to be a part of the protection built into that contract that says, like, we're not going to buy it unless title is clear, which means there isn't any other judgments or liens or issues with the property that would prevent it from close. So I don't. It's a little bit, because pulling title here in New York takes a long time, it's very cumbersome, and it's expensive, so that just doesn't scale well
some
here.
of our protection in contract is that there's clear title to close.
That's right.
So we know that the house will have a clear title when we close, so we're not making an issue of it when we're making an offer.
That's right.
And if there is an issue, we can then renegotiate the value that we're paying for the property with the seller because there's a title issue. He will have to resolve that if he didn't sell it to us or went to a traditional market. So a traditional market, you got to clear your title when you sell anyway.
That's right. So any questions about what we covered here? Feel free to jump up, throw your hands up in the air. And did anything new come out of this piece for you guys? Did you guys catch everything I said? I do talk pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Where are you learning right now?
We're learning this from this investor. His name is Jerry Norton.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he's investing in a lot of properties.
Fantastic. Oh, that's perfect.
We know the formula that you're talking about. 'Cause that's
You
the
did?
formula.
Ah!
Yeah.
Fantastic. He sounds like a super smart guy.
The other name is contract vendee.
That is correct, right?
That's if you're a realtor, though, and you're wholesaling it as a realtor, then you're marketing the property publicly.
That is correct. Yep. So if,
That's the word for.
that's right. Well, so you'll see for all our realtor friends, when you see like owner, it says contract vendee. It's.
And I know you said that wholesale is 100% legal, and it is.
Yes.
Right? I can't believe that practice is legal. The practice of the contract vendee.
It's literally the same thing.
No, I know it is, but I'm saying, but it's not, right?
How?
Because I feel like, we'll talk about
Okay. Yeah.
No, I get it because you feel like you're selling
your
something.
fiduciary is to the seller.
And you're not
right?
dealing with the seller.
So, right, you're not.
Nope.
And you're also now taking a property that you're potentially, I'm not saying you are, and so my whole thing about wholesaling is your intentions have to be pure, right? Whenever I do anything for anybody, it's always, how can I help them?
Sure.
And in return, I need to be compensated, right?
We go with the same intentions when we're doing what we're doing
Right,
too.
100%.
Yep.
But not everyone that wholesales operates that way.
Of course not. Yep.
So not everyone that does anything, not every doctor operates, you know,
Sure.
no pun intended,
Right.
you know, that way,
Right.
right? But you're potentially, as a realtor, I feel like the lines are very blurred. So it's Chris, right? Chris comes over to my house. I say I want to get $400,000 for it. He negotiates down to $350,000. Okay, says that's the best you're going to get. Then signs an assignment clause with me in contract, only to market that property for $400,000. It's very disingenuous.
I don't disagree. Yes. So that's why I say do not like.
That's why it's better
I
not
don't.
to have the real estate.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's
So
what-
it's very rare that I will go into a listing appointment and then put it under contract vendee and assign that. I just
100%.
won't do it. Yeah. No, those two things.
I feel like
You're walking a thin line as a realtor doing that.
Learn the lines,
Yep.
like when you're a fiduciary to the seller.
I agree. Yes, you're saying if the person listing the property is also the one who has it under contract.
Correct.
I understand what you're saying. Got it.
Which
Understood.
is 99% of the time when you're a contract vendee, right?
No.
Because, well, how else would you market the property publicly on MLS?
Well, if he has a contract with the right to assign and I list it,
He's a wholesaler, not a contract vendee. There's a difference.
Nope.
No, he's not the vendee.
Same one.
He doesn't own the property yet.
Yep. That's the same
That's
thing.
where the vendee
But
part
That's
he
what-
is the whole wholesaler.
But he's the vendee.
He's the
because
vendee.
He doesn't own it.
That's right.
He's listing it for somebody else.
He's selling his equitable interest in the property.
He's
That's
the
right.
vendee, but really
But
technically
he can't list the property.
He can.
I can.
He has. Josh would list it. He's the person who came to Josh and saying, "I want you to list this property for me at this number. This is my lowest one I need to get."
That's right.
I'm confused.
I know.
Well,
yeah. Well,
That's where the light comes through and how
Totally.
most of those work.
Yeah,
But
totally
as
understand.
you were saying, if it was a realtor bringing that down the line,
Got it.
that's not the right way to do it.
That's right.
But that's where the 50,000 comes in difference. It says, "Listen, you got to put my commission in it. We're making 50 on it total. This is the lowest. I need 400. Your commission's 10. Let's get it done."
Right.
You know, or 50-50. So
That's
that's
right.
where the balance comes in.
Perfect.
That's why you see a lot of them come in.
So as you see, we're about to open up and unpack a really big.
I can't see it.
Yeah, it's true because we can go into this, deep
We'll be
into.
until next grid meeting.
Yeah, that's right. Right. So the big part to understand is wholesaling is really just selling an equitable interest in another property, right? For a fee. So if you come across a property and you think that there's a deal there, and you're not exactly sure what to do with it, so feel free to contact myself or Sean. We'll walk you through that entire process. If you want to get involved in a deeper conversation about wholesaling, investing, lending all across the country, I invite you to join the Grid Facebook network. You can also find us again on meetup.com and come to our next meeting. So if you want to learn about how to walk the pathway to financial freedom, we'll put a link in this later on. I'll invite you to take the Income Flip Masterclass, and that was a class that I took a couple years ago, which changed my entire brain and started us on this wealth building journey. So this is all about how to go from day one all the way to being completely financially free and creating impact in your community like we're doing here. Now, the big part is you got to take a little bit about what you learned, but education without action is just a total waste of time. So go out there, take massive action, do a bunch of deals, and we'll see you next month. Thanks for being with us.